Right. Welcome back, Bloodbowl fans. We have some interesting matches to talk about. Go through the fixtures before going through the currently updated table. So, looking at probably the most interesting match on paper first, which is the Crimson Killers versus the Steves. And I say that because in recent seasons, Liam has slowly but surely been catching up to me in ability, and I would argue me and him are of a very similar skill level, depending on what team we choose to take up at what times. Was going into the match confident because I'd outstrengthed a Corn team pretty heavily with my Corn team had outstrengthed his Beastman team, but he has since decided to take a star player in which he has since rostered said star player. And the ball and chain star player absolutely tore ribbons out of my team. Not actually doing many, didn't do any Kazis actually, but enough. And it was a problem. But eventually, when it was off the field, the match did turn. But the damage had already been done, and both of us had late chances. Liam had a late chance in the second half to make it 2-0, as it was his half. Second half, I had a turn 16 chance to make it 2-1 to me. But it ended 1-1, and I think it's a fair match overall. Looking at the second match in the list, which was the Silverleaf Sentinels versus the Festering Freak Show. Bit of an interesting one. Khorne versus Elves. No, Nurgle versus Elves, sorry. But I expected the Elves to come out with the victory here, but they didn't. It was a low Kaz affair from the Nurgle team, but a scoring affair it was, and that's honestly the most important thing. It ended 1-0 to the Festering Freak Show, leaving Stuart with a very poor record so far at the start of the season, but there are still plenty of games to go. It is a 12 fixture season. And then lastly, and oh my god, lastly, we have a match. It was between the Orcs and the Halflings. A match that on paper should have been a foregone conclusion, but was it? Oh. Tom got a second victory of his Blood Bowl career outside of concedes, beating Gavin 1-0. The Orcs over the Halflings. And I have an obituary, an excuse, proposal, a list of reasonings from Gavin about this game, who obviously did the awesome favour of reporting the game for me, so I have a pretty big statement to read. And I will do so now. So, brief account of the game. The Orcs got the first drive for some reason, decided to play standoff defensive Blood Bowl versus Flings. The Flings were braced for an onslaught that never really came. The Goblin ball carrier broke through the Fling line using multiple dodges, but was isolated and chased down by Flings, who stripped the ball from him. They looked to get throw teammates into the half-orc, but only the only tree in range was promptly blitzed down and then gang stomped into the KO box. He never returned. Robbed of a counter-offensive, the Flings secured the ball and stalled out for the last turn. Second half, the Flings drive. The Orcs started much more aggressively. Flings did many dodges, secured the ball, screened with a wide cage. Orcs pressured. Remaining tree had choice: throw ball carrier or over the Orcs line. Risky but doable. We'll take the advantage of a 3-dice block on a star blitzer. Ball wasn't under direct threat, so the advantage of a 3-dice block was taken. Blitz down, but not out. Fling then failed an important dodge, causing a turnover. The Orcs had the perfect block turn, putting most of the Flings on the ground, couple off the pitch. Then they isolated the remaining tree man, who kept punching greenskins till the end, but always marked by at least 2. Orcs swarmed the Flings backfield. Ball carrier had a few chums, dodged, and ran over the Orc for multiple turns, until the inevitable. Ball carrier was sacked, and the blitzer picked up the ball. The blitzer then scored and ran by running the ball in. Flings ready to chuck for a 1-turn touchdown. Treeman is cleared and ready to fling. Fling goes to pick up the ball. 2, re-rolled into a 1. Fling's hopes die on the failed ball pickup. Tom did really well, minimizing his usual mistakes to possibly the fewest he's ever committed to date. But in reality, my opinion, he could have easily have made that 2-0 had he have played aggressively from the start, assuming everything panned out the way it did. Wow. It's an incredible endorsement to have from an opponent, but I will give credit where it's due. Gavin has helped Tom immensely and has gone through the game and helped Tom learn different ways, because the problem is with Tom is very monkey see, monkey do. He does the first thing he sees and doesn't do much else after. But we can but see now improvements. And looking at the table, the improvements are showing because, for the reasons I will about to say, starting at the top, the only person with 4 games played is Liam, and he's currently in first place with 2 wins, 2 draws on 24 points. Second is myself with 2 wins and 1 draw on 22 points. In third is Gavin with 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss on 14 points. Fester and Freak Show huddled up in fourth with 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss on 13 points. The only reason they're less points is because Gavin had obviously picked himself up a clean sheet so far during the season. They give yourself 1 bonus point. In fifth is Sam's Sketchy Scramblers with 1 win, 2 losses on 12 points. In sixth, and I never expected this, is Tom with 1 win, 2 losses on 9 points, leaving Stuart in last place with 1 draw, 2 losses on 7 points. It's early doors, but Tom is not last. And that is impressive. That legitimately is impressive. So, we're going to hide the fixtures. We're going to hide the league table. Because now, my friends, we're going to have a look at some league stats. Looking here at the top portion of the table, this is for the touchdowns. I will read the top 5 and I will scroll for the rest. So in first place is Martin of the Steves with 6 touchdowns scored. In second is Mako of the Crimson Killers with 3 touchdowns scored. In third is Ashley of the Crimson Killers also with 1 touchdown. Fourth is Behind of the Better Late Than Nevers with 1. And Borden of the Steves with 1 in fifth. And I will just scroll as there are 20 touchdown scorers so far this season, which, the amount of games played, it's pretty good. Looking now at the top completionists, there are only 4 to speak of. We have Doe and Quicksilver of the Silverleaf Sentinels with 5. We have Big Heap of the Buckleberry Hot Pots with 3. Dag Jones of the Sketchy Scramblers with 1. And Wozniak of the Steves with 1. Casualties. Oh my. There are 26 casualty dealers, and again, I will read the top 5, and I'll let you see the rest yourself. So, in first place is Arden Quick-Footed of the Silverleaf Sentinels with 4, Austin of the Steves with 2, Buffoon Behemoth of the Sketchy Scramblers with 2, Corell of the Steves with 2, and Gag Giants of the Sketchy Scramblers with 2. I will scroll, and you can see there is actually 1 star player that has made an appearance, and that was because of my two of my casualties from the game against Liam. We have Scylla Angerfim in 11th place with 2 casualties. Not great from behalf of the league. The star players are picking up the slack, but, you know, we'll take it. And then you can see the rest there. 15th through 26th have only got 1 casualty. Interesting. So we hide that now. We go back to show you our dear league table and the fixtures, because I'm sure people would love to know what the fixtures are going to be for the matches to be played on the 6th of August, this coming Tuesday. And they are as follows. I will also remind the Buckleberry Hot Pots do have a catch-up game against Lewis. I know they're organising for it to be played, so I'm not worrying. I'm not like, this isn't a pressure. This is just a reminder that there is still 1 game outstanding looking back at all of the fixtures. As I was saying, for round 5, the matches are as follows. I'm going to be careful how far I scroll, because Sam, the cheeky little shit, managed to get a fucking view of the next round of fixtures, and he knew he was playing Lewis, because apparently in the last video, you can see the top fixture here. So, Liam, you have the week off. And the matches are as follows. The Sketchy Scramblers versus the Festering Freak Show. This is Sam versus Lewis. The Buckleberry Hot Pots versus the Crimson Killers. This is Gavin versus me. And the Silverleaf Sentinels versus the Better Late Than Nevers. That is Stuart versus Tom. Interesting match, that last one, because that is a bottom decider. That is a spoon chaser. And I'm going to be interested. Sketchy Scramblers versus the Festering Freak Show is mid-table mediocrity. Because we've got 6th v 7th, we have 4th v 5th, and we have 2nd v 3rd. We have everybody's matches where they're all together on the table. So it's going to be tight affairs, you would think. Because I would definitely like to think, on paper and with back history, Gavin is better than me on paper. But it always comes down to that's if you're using your preferred teams, dice go for you, etc., etc. Sketchy Scramblers versus the Festering Freak Show. I think Sam's the better coach, but Lewis has far the better team. And I've said this before, like, Sam's best is not in Snotlings, but he has too much fun in Snotlings to not to care, which is perfectly fair. If you have fun, fuck it, do it. But, see. The last match is where I'm really interested, and I think this will definitely be a televised one if we can get the laptops working, because this is going to be bottom decider, and again, on paper, Stuart's got he's the better coach, probably got the better team on paper, but Tom has form. Tom is playing better at the minute, he's getting results, and it's it's the best performances of his entire Blood Bowl career. Stuart is always plagued by bad dice rolls, and that has happened ever since he fucking started Blood Bowl, and we don't know why. It just is. It's awful. And that also did plague him in the game against Lewis. I will give credit where that's due as well, but it'll be interesting. Predictions, I reckon Lewis is going to beat Sam. I reckon I'm going to beat Gavin, but yeah, I think that's just going to come down to outstrengthing. And then I reckon it's going to be a draw between Stu and Tom. That is my predictions. I will see you when those matches are done, and I will report. Good Blood Bowl, everybody, and good night.